Inland Sports.
Well, mostly football. That's what everyone's talking about. It's Thursday. We got Thursday night football. We got another big weekend of football. Everyone, either your team played really bad and you're like, oh, dude, it's another one of those bad seasons. Or you won your first game and you look good and you're like, wow, Super Bowl this season.
We're Super Bowl bound.
Feels good.
We're going to do it.
The week-to-week league that is the NFL.
Oh, it is. A little quick baseball note before we get too deep into the pigskin, because we will. We're going to go really deep on football on this one. But the Dodgers clinched their 7th consecutive National League West title. Yeah.
Now,
First team to clinch
Yeah.
postseason berth this year.
That is true. No, that is great. It is the 7th year. It is hard to imagine that. It just scares me that they are on the verge of being the Buffalo Bills here. If they don't do this.
Yeah.
Because you know how I feel about when a thing becomes a thing. If they made it all the way there and they keep not winning, it becomes a thing.
Now, how much time is left in the season?
Like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
I think
now,
like 16 games,
finally,
maybe, something like that.
I'm not the biggest baseball guy. What happens to a team that clinches this early?
Well, here's the deal.
Do they kind of take their foot off?
No, well, here's
Rust
the...
versus Rust.
Yeah, here's the deal, 40. So they are 3 games better than the Atlanta Braves right now. So if you want to look at the postseason, you're like, okay, who's going to have home field advantage in the National League? That's what you're playing for right now. You've already locked up the division, but you could get home field advantage. Just like NFL, if you finish with the best record, you're going to be home throughout the playoffs.
So keep it going.
So
Still a reason to play.
yes, they're not going to shut it down for these last couple of weeks. They still have to hold off Atlanta, and then Houston, the Yankees. They have the best record in baseball. If they can maybe chase them down, you could think about that too.
Do we have the closer situation figured out? That's all I'm worried about.
I don't know.
Is the Kenley Jansen thing figured out?
Dude, you're asking the wrong guy. I have no idea. I don't know.
We have to ride this roller coaster, dude. We're gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this guy is gonna give up so many bombs. I can just feel it.
All right, we'll see how that goes.
He's got to
Dodger fans, do something.
Get a big lead, score a lot of runs, hit a lot of home runs, get a big lead, and then that way, if you turn it over in the ninth and he gives up, yeah, I mean, really.
By that I mean start drinking.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna need to.
Start now, Dodger fans. A lot of football to get to. It's all brought to you by Matheson Gas, the gas professionals. So make sure if you need gas, and I'm pretty sure you do, check out Matheson Gas. Whether you have a local business here in the Inland Empire, maybe just for your backyard, you can get gas, you can get welding supplies, you can get cooling supplies. It's going to warm up again later in this week. So stop by Matheson Gas in Rancho Cucamonga, Fontana, or Riverside. Get all the gas you could ever dream of at Matheson Gas, mathesongas.com, as well online. So the Rams get the Saints.
Yep.
Home opener, rematch of the NFC Championship game.
Oh boy.
I feel like this could be the same 2 teams in the Sorry, Patrick. This could be the same 2 teams in the NFC Championship game outside of Seattle, right? But it could be. Okay, sorry for it.
You got a lot of people you're offended
Sorry,
right now, Pep.
sorry. Subconsciously, Cordy, subconsciously, I just put Seattle ahead of Philadelphia in my pecking order.
Thanks.
You can't do sports anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, Win. Stop playing.
Yes, all those other NFC teams. But I don't know. In my mind, I'm thinking I feel like the Rams and the Saints are maybe still the cream of the crop in
They
the
are top
NFC,
dogs for
probably.
There's a
But
part of me that's just hoping that Drew Brees gets in there after he's gotten screwed so bad the last few years.
I mean, they almost
Yeah,
got screwed
yeah.
again last week. Let's
Yeah.
not forget that. They almost got screwed again.
And how hard it is to get all the way there to get screwed, it's tough.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And he's at the end. I mean, he doesn't
Yes.
have much more time.
yeah, he's one of the good guys too. Like if you told me like, oh man, I'd love to see Eli Manning win one more, I'd be like, nah, I'm not really an Eli Manning
Right.
guy. But Drew Brees is one of those guys. You're like, man, he's so likable. Like he's squeaky clean. I would just love to see him win it again. But that would mean Philly doesn't get in. The Rams don't get in. The Seahawks don't get in.
But hey, the way it works is,
I'm doing damage control now.
hey, we all can't win. You know what I mean?
No.
We all can't win. So
No.
somebody's going to win, and it could be them.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's early in the season, and what happens this weekend will probably not resemble or have
we'll
a
be
full
the other
effect
way.
later in the year. Yeah, so we'll see. But
We'll be down in the dump.
it's interesting.
I'm sure the Saints would like to finally get into a game too, where it's not like an absolute blowout and it comes down to the end. It seems like all their games are the most exciting games ever right now.
Completely.
Yeah, and again, going back to that crazy play, I mean, Saints fans still feel like they should have been in the Super Bowl, not the Rams.
They
So
should have been.
I'm sure they're still holding on to that. So anyways, it should be
Absolutely.
a good game this Sunday, Rams and Saints. The Chargers are going to play on the road at the Lions, and the Chargers, they cannot catch a break. Well, actually, they can because Hunter Henry broke
Yeah.
his knee, the bone, whatever the patella, whatever they call
It's
that.
supposed to be a weird little break too.
A
This could
fracture.
be bad.
Charger fans, I think you have to blame me for this one. It happened right after I drafted him in fantasy.
Wait,
No, did you really?
Right
It's called
after I
it's
drafted
called a
him.
plateau fracture. That's what I heard.
Is that-
It could be bad, so we'll see. They say 4 to 6 weeks, but it all depends on how it heals, I guess.
Yeah.
Kinda like one of those breaking a bone in your foot thing. It may not heal right. I heard a story about one on another talk show. Talk about how they had that injury. It was in high school. This is not a professional athlete.
With the best doctors.
And they never played again.
Ooh.
So I was like, oh, that's not good.
That's rough.
So Hunter Henry, your star tight end, and
After
they're saying,
Derwin,
Is
Yeah.
Antonio Gates still alive?
well, that's what they're saying. Yeah.
he's ready.
Twitter, social media was going nuts. Like, where's Antonio Gates right now?
We need
Right?
to get.
And then Mike Williams, they're probably their second best receiver behind Keenan Allen. He has an injured knee. They don't know if he'll be ready to go this weekend. So, man, the MASH unit right now hitting the Chargers hard. Like, they can't catch a break right now because a lot of their top players are going down with injuries. And we're only in the second game, going into the second game of the
Right.
season.
It's a brutal sport.
Maybe good that it's only against the Lions.
That's true.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Tune-up.
Maybe.
Did they win the first week? I think they did, right? Didn't they come back in their game?
Wait, did they play Arizona? Was that the tie game?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
right.
it was the tie game.
Nobody
They're
wins in
coming
that
off the tie.
game.
You're right.
Yeah. Don't let us go down that rabbit hole.
Oh,
Ties.
man.
Ugh.
Yeah, come on. I want a winner.
It's not soccer.
Yeah, it's not soccer, guys. So Chargers against that juggernaut Detroit this weekend. Another game I just want to throw out there real quick, Vikings versus Packers.
Ooh.
One of the top defensive linemen in the NFL, Kenny Clark of the Packers from San
Yeah.
Bernardino, played at Carter High School.
He's been a KCAL.
Yeah, he's a friend of the
Here.
program. Friend of the program.
Yeah.
And then Alexander Madison, running back from the Vikings, San Bernardino High School graduate. So I'm
Nice.
thinking, we could have two local guys from the Dino City, Kenny Clark tackling Alexander Madison in the same game. So I don't know if you follow local football, but right now I feel like we're kind of in this golden age
Oh,
where
yeah.
like high school football is really good right now,
Right.
and we've got a lot of local guys in the NFL all over the place from the Inland Empire. Like
That's
we're in
what
this
makes
golden
it a lot of
age.
fun. When you're watching on Sunday and you realize that guy's from this area. It's
Yes.
fun to watch.
See, I'm a nerd like that. Like everyone else is watching for fantasy points. Like, my player's going to score a
Right.
touchdown. I'm like, oh, dude, that guy's from Vista Marietta, and he's from
Yeah.
Carter, and he's from San Bernardino, and
Yeah.
so I enjoy that stuff. I don't know. So if you're a Vikings or a Packers fan, it's kind of interesting
Yeah.
way to watch that game. And finally, college football. USC is going to play at BYU. USC looks like a serious team now, I guess.
Yeah.
With the
I
new
know,
quarterback.
dude, they like the kid.
Keaton Slovis. But going into Provo is never easy, so we'll see how they do
No.
against BYU. Yeah, it's a tricky
And
place.
Let's remember, they got picked. I know it's by the LA Times, but they did get picked to win the Pac-12. So Utah's gonna be tough.
Yes.
And make sure you tie your shoes because if you saw the video from last week, the guy from BYU sacked the quarterback, took his shoe, threw it in the sand.
He
Yeah.
did? Well, that's not very nice.
It was
Hey.
hilarious.
It's war out here.
It's war, yeah.
Tie your shoes, Junior.
and UCLA's home for Oklahoma, who maybe
Shit.
outside of Alabama and Clemson, probably the best team in the nation. Maybe outside of
Another loss
Georgia.
coming.
Yeah.
For a new
Ooh.
house,
And,
Jim.
and
Ooh.
and they were showing pictures of the Rose Bowl, their last home game. Nobody's going to
Oh.
UCLA football games. What's the
Not
Rose Bowl?
good.
100,000 people.
Yeah.
Nobody's going, and they're really bad.
Ooh.
It's trouble.
Yeah.
They're gonna need like Urban Meyer.
It's not a
That'd
bad
be awesome.
idea.
He's the only guy who can do it.
It's not a bad idea, man. You need to make a big splash. I thought Chip Kelly was the big splash, but it just hasn't panned out yet.
No, it hasn't. Pep, tell him how to get your stuff.
Inland Sports, hit us up on the YouTube channel. Please hit subscribe. We're all over the social media platforms as well. If you like local football, you like guys from the IE and the NFL, that's what we talk about.
Thanks, Matt.
Inland Sports.